Welcome to Tonetalks.
What up, y'all? This is Antonio Moore coming to you with a pop-up show today. Attorney Antonio Moore here to have a discussion about what I consider to be the end of Black professionals, ADOS Black professionals, African American, Black professionals. I believe the full squeeze is on. I'm going to give some context of the two sides of pressures that are happening. On one side, I believe that they're raising the floor without raising any of our positions because you're supposed to get money from your parents and you're just not getting that. Transfers, inheritance, and gifts are required. I don't know who told who that Black professionals are free, but they're not free, nothing free. And then on the other side, they've decided to basically elevate Black immigrants and then present them as first Black, first African American, first as though they have corrected for American slavery and Jim Crow when they totally failed and botched any correction. I want to have this discussion in the context of data and context of information. Let's have it today. Let's get into it, fellas and females out there. Fellas and females out there, let's get right into the discussion. And I'm looking at this in context of a couple of articles that have come out, a couple of pieces of information. One side, I'm looking at the $20 minimum wage for fast food workers here in California that will go into effect, I believe, April 1st of next year. And on the other side, the elevation of the new Harvard president, who is Haitian American. Nothing against her actually elevating to that position, but I don't see why it's different than an Indian American or a Chinese American elevating as well. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. So we got people all across this country actually here to support on this Sunday. Please use the super chat. Please subscribe, share this video. Use my Cash App Tonetalks to support this channel. I would hate to have to also move to Patreon because of the lack of support. You know that the advertising support from Google is not what it used to be, but I want to continue to bring you these shows, and I need support in terms of Cash App, in terms of Patreon, to put these shows on. I'm not asking for any specific amount, just support my channel, please, as you support other things that you use to entertain and inform yourself. So we here having this discussion, and I believe that we're nearing the end of Black professionals, ADOS Black professionals. I don't know how people are not able to see it. I don't know if they're able to put data points together, put certain pieces of information together, but I just know that everything is pointing to that fact. So when I look at, and thank you so much for the support, Tammy T, this recent movement of labor, you have this new minimum wage in California for fast food workers. Now, I don't believe it should be just for fast food workers. I think you're going to raise the floor, but you cannot raise the floor without raising the middle, without raising all levels. I mean, I don't understand what this is. I just know that the impact of it is, to me, what the wealthy, what the elite are trying to do is create a one wage for everybody kind of thing. And that's a horrible deal for Black professionals. For ADOS Black professionals, it's an awful deal. Now I'll explain to you why. I don't know if many of you have enough doorway into the normal way it works when you are a professional that went to UCLA or Stanford, and what your parents are obligated to give to you in 2023 if they want to see you be successful. You don't make this world work with work and labor. They set it all up for gifts and transfers. Now, the problem for ADOS Black Americans is not only are you not receiving those gifts and transfers, you have no politics that is advocating just for you as a Black professional, meaning elevating your salary alone. You have nobody asking you what you need. Come on. But in addition, they don't even know that you're missing because they done found other people that came in 1984 or 1989 that look just like you and elevated that as a representation that everybody's here. There's no need to do any kind of actual reparative work here because we've done it already. We got our first Harvard president. I want to talk today because I believe that we're on the verge of the end of the Black professional, and many of you guys think your kid gonna be a professional, ain't saved a dollar. Many of you don't have no inheritance coming, think you're gonna leave your kid inheritance. Many of you might not even know the importance of inheritance for you to retire, for you to maintain your life, for you to buy a home, for you to live in America. But I'm going to explain it today. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to explain this through tweets and articles. We're going to get through this. I'm not going to have you too long. I know it's a Sunday. So this started off with this tweet that kind of went viral. I think it's like 17,000 views or something like that. And this isn't celebrity gossip. So people are reading this. And what I said is about this More Perfect Union tweet. It was a woman, I believe she's a mother of 6 that worked at Jack in the Box here in Los Angeles. And In-N-Out, Chipotle, and other chains tried to kill California's landmark fast food workers bill. Today they lost. Workers will now get a $20 minimum wage and other huge wins. And it's thanks to workers like Miss Williams, a mom of 6 who works at Jack in the Box in LA. Now, I have nothing against this mom of 6 trying to get $20 an hour. But what I wanted to make clear is that she can't make $20 an hour unless you lift that public defender. The one that went to law school, and is making, hold on, let's be clear, because I'm going to jump forward because I didn't want to jump forward, but $42 in San Mateo, California. So the thing that I will explain to you is why they pay them $42. And I know because I was a public service attorney for and I talked to the higher ups and what they were doing, and we'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about this in terms of this tweet. Let's get right into the discussion because I don't know if some of you guys understand what is going on. Come on. Whew. I want to talk. I hope everyone that's highly educated professional worker is watching this as well. You should make $80 to $100 an hour after your advanced professional degrees if $20 is the new floor for low-skilled fast food work. What they are doing is locking ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, Black Americans, out through silence. And I want to give you the whole tweet. We're talking about fast food workers right now. We're getting into this discussion. And they're locking us out through our silence. But I need for some of you guys that are not in California to actually be able to see this, what has just happened. Gavin Newsom just signed it into law. California minimum wage for fast food workers raised to $20 an hour. Fast food workers in California will earn a minimum of $20 an hour and have a greater say in setting workplace standards under a new bill signed into law on Thursday by Governor Gavin Newsom. And I will say unequivocally, I'm all for labor rights. For all, not for some. The future happens here first, Newsom said at an event in Los Angeles with labor officials and fast food workers flanking him. The legislation emerged as part of a broader compromise in which fast food companies agreed to remove a 2024 ballot referendum asking voters to repeal a law aimed at improving wages and working conditions. So Newsom was here. He wasn't at the reparations California thing that wasn't reparations, but he was here, and this is the people who were flanking him. So they got these fast food workers. They're older and older, working at these places. This used to be a job for kids. I worked at fast food myself. But I want to come back to that tweet and read you the whole tweet of what I said about this woman and the mother of 6 and this $20 minimum. I hope that everyone that's a highly educated professional worker is watching this as well. You should make $80 to $100 an hour after your advanced professional degree if $20 is the new floor. I want you to understand 2 parts. The first part is you have an advanced degree, which means you did 4 years of college and you probably did 3 to 4 years of professional work. Then you tested, but the second part is you missed years of labor work while doing that. If they're not going to pay you $80 to $100, I don't know why you would be doing it. If you can make $20 just straight out going to work at a fast food place. I said, what they are doing is locking American descendants of slavery, Black Americans out through silence, because the presumption is if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you make your real wealth through familial inheritance and transfers. when I was working as a lawyer for the government, that's what the person, the higher up, told me. You know that the people in the Orange County, they living with their parents. Their parents got them. Oh, so they actually create the wage with an understanding that you're not just living on the labor. You gonna get your gifts. So what happens if you don't have no gifts coming or no trans? You can't do no job. You can't do that. That ain't for you. Go work at that damn fast food place and make that $20. What they are doing is locking American descendant of slavery, Black Americans, out through silence, because the presumption is if you're a lawyer or doctor, you make your real wealth through familial inheritance and transfers. So the advanced degree signals the Juris Doctorate for being a lawyer. It signals, in effect, that you have your wages supplemented by an attached elite class that ADOS have been largely shut out of from due to hundreds of years of oppression from slavery to redlining and beyond. But for far too many educated Black Americans, in addition, you also are sending some of your post-tax income. So after taxes, you make it $42 an hour. You send $5 to student loans, which is another tax. So you down to 37. And understand when I say that, I'm talking about this right here. Let's talk about it. But then on top of the 37, $7 go to grandmama and mama. So you at 30, but we gonna raise the minimum wage to 20 for the fast food. Hold on. So the advanced degree signals, in effect, you have your wages supplemented by an attached elite class that ADOS have been largely shut out from due to hundreds of years of oppression from slavery to redlining and beyond. But for far too many educated Black Americans, in addition, you are also sending some of your post-tax income out to family. You are financial trapped. You are financially trapped by your lineage and the group's failed politics. They can't raise the floor, and it leads to everyone being paid $20 to $40 an hour without the highly educated ADOS that is carrying the cost of American Blackness being locked out. You heard it here first. So let me connect it all for you. You got a governor that did not show up to the reparations thing, down here at this $20 an hour thing, and you don't even know the play that's going on. You don't understand what your mama and your daddy owe you. You remember the people that used to tell you that when you sign that bill for that rent, you owe your rent, that you rent you the apartment and the bill is due. Can we talk? Can we get to it? I want to talk today. Highlights the most important fast food worker statistics. Fast food and counter workers in the U.S. make an average of $8.77 an hour and an annual wage of $18,000. So they make $8.77 nationally, but in California, you go away with 20. And the argument would be, well, how else would they live? Nobody asked that if you're a Black professional sending money to mama and grandmama that didn't pay the student loans, sending money to the student loans, and already making a little bit of something as the wage. Nobody asked because nobody cares. The most common ethnicity among fast food workers is white at 57%, followed by Hispanic and Latino, 18%, Black African American, 9.6%. The average fast food work salary in the U.S. is $23,000. The big part here is the average age of a fast food employee in the U.S. has increased from 22 to 29. So as we gutted manufacturing jobs, as we took away the pathway for low-skilled workers to actually make a wage, what we did is we made these fast food jobs that were initially entry-level jobs for kids and the like into mainstay ways for you to provide for yourself, but it's low skilled. And now we're going to cut a floor down so that that group can actually live, but we're going to forget the professionals because the professionals get their money from their parents. Talk about it. I want to talk today. 310-388-3499 if you want to call in. 310-388-3499 if you want to call in. And again, what I'm saying to you is so the advanced degree, the lawyer and the doctor and the engineer, these degrees signal that you have your wages supplemented by an attached elite class that ADOS have been largely shut out of, that you will get transfers, gifts, and inheritance. Just look at this craze. This should be doubled, if not more, added. The only people that would be professionals are whites in the top 20%. So in San Mateo, California, the same state that just set that floor, they pay $42.96 an hour to their public defenders. What then happens? We don't have no black district attorneys, ADOS. We don't have no ADOS black public defenders. All we have is people who don't know nothing about us representing us. Can I talk? These are the jobs that we need black people to help out with. We need black people to be able to do public defender work, district attorney work. We can't have it set up where you as a black person got to go out and make $250,000 a year to be able to be a lawyer, because that's not even what people make, man. That is a few people. I've already showed you the BLS data of how few black households make over 100,000, let alone 200,000. So I can't help you see the importance of inheritance until you watch the whole show. So this is where we at. That's what, look. This is some basic stuff. I mean, I guess, you know, when you think you're gonna make 400,000, you think it's all gonna work out. So we looking at this discussion, and we asking the question, why would you just raise one wage? Why not all minimum wage? What is the impact of not raising more than the floor? How are black professionals not looking out for themselves? Because they have been programmed to think that they're going to be able to work it out. You don't work it out, you get gifted it. It's almost like, God damn, do you know you live in America? And it's like, no, they don't. They're going to be the one in 2023 with interest rates at 7% until probably 2025, they saying, with the average home being $460,000, with the average car being $50,000, and you need more than one car in the house. So we talking 2-3 of those. You gonna be the one. I need you to see it. I don't even know. So for a lot of people, I think that they don't really understand the impact until the impact comes, then they come and complain to us. But I'm not here to guess. I lay out specific data. So this is released August 9th of 2023. The great wealth transfer from baby boomers to millennials will impact the job market and economy. Although this is good news for millennials as a whole, there may be a disconnect between how they impact. Although this is good news for millennials as a whole, there may be a disconnect between how they expect to inherit and how much aging baby boomers plan on actually leaving them. More than half of millennials expect to receive an inheritance from their parents. Half. So there's 83 million white homes. 42 million of them expect to receive an inheritance. My mama and daddy had me at 16. 4 days from 17. When my mama died, I got Nick's check cashing cards in her wallet. That's what I got. America has a price tag. You know how your rent is a price, like your parents tell you you better be able to pay your bills. You have a bill attached that's right on your arm that you are paying for yourself that isn't your bill. It's a familial bill. That's what student loans are. That's why the houses are so high. And it's like hard because I don't know I got to teach you ADOS. I got to teach you that you need inheritance. I got to teach you how to walk and eat and talk. More than half of millennials expect to receive an inheritance from their parents or other family members of about $350,000. When they say half, I want to be clear with you because most of America is white. They're talking about white folks that ain't even go to college. So if 30% of white people went to college, the top 30% aren't receiving $350. They might be at $5 or $550 on average. And if you're talking about an elite school, UCLA, Stanford, you might be in the $800 million range. You think you're going to be next to them, giving money to your mama, they raise the minimum wage, and you're going to be all right. Let me read it again. More than half of millennials expect to receive an inheritance from their parents or other family members So they mama and daddy and they auntie and their uncle and their grandmama and their granddaddy of about $350,000. According to a recent survey by Alliant Credit Union. However, 55% of baby boomers expect to leave behind an inheritance of less than $250,000. So we not only talking about zero, we talking about giving money upward. And understand that's the inheritance. We're still not looking at gifts. America has in the tax law two ways that grandparents can give their grandchildren gifts without being taxed: for medical bills and for student bills, $50,000 a year each thing. Well, they got it in there. You don't think people are doing it? Yeah, that's normal. We live in so abnormal, we don't know what normal is. I come back to it. So even if you say 300 to split the difference between these two expectations, 300 on average. But if you educated, we probably more at 500,000, 600,000. If you're highly educated, doctor, lawyer, we're near $1 million. We don't know that we cost $1 million. So what you see as a result is that we don't understand the consequence that's about to bear down on us when we don't do politics. How does that tie back to the minimum wage? Well, you're raising the floor to 20 for fast food workers only. But at the same time, you're saying that the elite people, the ones that are the lawyers, the doctors, the engineers, will get their money right here. And too many of y'all don't even know. Again, that's the average. That ain't the engineer or the doctor. I'm going to make my money. I don't need to be a public defender. Well, we need you to be. We need you to be a criminal defense attorney, a pro bono attorney. We need you to stop talking about selling Herbalife and medicinal weed attorney. Come on. But I didn't even tell you this part. Now, this is a little old because they won't give us the data. Only 5% in 2015 of African American whole households were worth more than $350,000. Again, the average white family was leaving $350,000. And understand that they might have 2 or 3 children. I'm not even telling you that part. How many people got one child? They be having 2 children, one that's 30 and the other one's 28. And they might even have a 26-year-old, and they all getting $350 on average. But only 5% of African American households have a net worth more than $350,000. So we hear and we not hear, and the people who get impacted, we only care about if they about to collapse, because the ADOS black professional that is dying at the hands of a lack of politics doesn't even know they dying. I want to talk today. I want to get into it. My parents left me and my siblings debt when they passed away. Talk about a rude awakening. See, that's the other thing. A lot of y'all don't find out till they about to die. Or when they dead, that's when all the bills come out. That's when you find out about the refi and the bingo debt. I want to talk. This is the end. This is it for ADOS, black professionals. I'm telling you because I see ain't nobody behind us. It's all black immigrants. And that's very few even there. And it leans women like 70-30, if not 80-20. America has wrought its pain on us. And far too many black professionals don't even know. They think that they the one. 310-388-3499. I want to talk about it. I want to have the discussion today. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Tony? This is Jason out of Miami.
What up, Jason? Well, actually, give me your take on it. Give me your take on it because I got a new chart. I'm going to show everybody Q2 of the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances. We do data here, not feelings. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to call in, but I was really going to chime in about that Harvard lawyer being Haitian and no one understanding what that actually means. So if you want to put me on hold to chime in on that afterwards or call
No,
back.
no. Go ahead. Give your take on it.
Well, to address 2 points. One is the previous caller doesn't. I think there's like this inability to understand like breadcrumbs, and what's happening is breadcrumbs are being left like pieces, and it's like no one can see the end game until it already gets there. So you're talking about what lawyers are making, and instead of kind of looking at seeing where like the floor is actually erased to, it's silly. The other thing is I remember telling somebody probably like 6-7 months ago that the new Harvard president was Haitian, and instead of them understanding that point, that was on another kind of like channel, speaking, and they told me, well, we built Harvard, it's irrelevant, not understanding that like a small population of Black immigrants are getting the best jobs in America, and not understanding how that like coincides.
To your point, the first Black president wasn't Adolf. He came from Kenya, and he was white. Kenya might have 50,000 people here, and I believe that most of them are refugees. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I think the numbers are around 50,000, and they got here recently. Then you got the first Black vice president was Jamaican and Indian, raised by the Indian mother, and then also Jamaicans. I think they have 1 million people here. Again, came post 1978, 1980, well after Jim Crow. You got the first Black press secretary who's Haitian. It's not just about when ADOS have a turn. That outlay is a direct reflection of what I'm saying in this show, that we're finished. We didn't do the politics. I'm just telling you now. Go ahead.
No, it's absolutely finished. And unfortunately, I've realized, and I've done a lot of research about it, unfortunately, I believe ADOS people en masse will not be able to save themselves because of the fact, too, one, probably more important than the other, is one, not understanding like how selfish it is not to do the politics for your children, which actually leads to like why ADOS people en masse don't like do life insurance. Like the day-to-day living doesn't help your future generation. That's one. But then the second most important thing is understanding the moment. If you argue with a person that doesn't understand that, what they'll say is America's always tried to get rid of us. This is no different. We'll always be here. Not understanding that the game has changed, and like no one wants to like genocide you. They'll just like shut you out of everything.
Yeah.
You'll be done forever.
Yeah, it's like that is a great point. They don't understand. They'll have you here arguing with each other in your house. See, your grandmama will wave. I'm just saying that's what's going on now. I mean, grandma retired, and then you leaving at 3 a.m. to go pick up strangers, and she waving to you like you got a normal job. We collapsed, and they don't even pay you for that. They really letting you liquidate your car. I want to talk today. Any last thing you want to say? Because I'm about to get into some data.
Well, the last thing I'll say is, and it's very important, and I think it's really telling, that the governor of California that governor raises the floor in a particularly like a majority Hispanic state, but then doesn't attend. Basically, what I'm saying is they raise the floor for Hispanics because it's a majority Hispanic like population, all immigrants, but then don't attend like a reparations conference. It's basically sticking the middle finger up at you in your face, and like you don't say anything. So just take it.
Caller, thank you so much for calling. 310-388-3499. Look, we having a discussion that a lot of people gonna get confused on. Don't matter if they confused, it's coming. So this is the recent Q2 data from 2023 wealth, and what it shows is Black folks don't have no wealth. So that really reflects even that the 2015 numbers are still basically the same. This chart is a reflection of the charts I've shown before. It comes from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, so it is accurate. It shows that white America has so they have 83 million homes, and we have about 20. That's a 1-to-4 ratio. This is not a 1-to-4 ratio. This is us having nearly no wealth and them having all of it. Come on. So we trying to do the same jobs, and we don't even know how to think in a straight line because we don't understand what them jobs supposed to come with. You got a price tag on you. Come on. You can take it in debt, or you can demand that transfer. And if they ain't got that transfer, they didn't pay their bill. And maybe, come on. So I want to talk because you can see it laid out here how these numbers break down. The light blue is real estate. The vanilla is consumer durable goods. That means the things you buy. The burgundy is corporate equities, which is stocks and mutual funds. The gray is defined benefit pension entitlements, or it should be olive green. My apologies. The blue is defined contribution pension entitlements. The darker green, like camouflage, is private business right here. So this is their private business, and this is other assets. So this is the white breakdown. They have over 125, more like 129 trillion dollars of wealth. Black America might have 5 or 6, but what's important is that inside of Black America, almost almost 3 trillion dollars of it is in pensions, and we know that millennials definitely don't have that because the job market had basically moved from pensions by the time we entered, and Gen Xers largely don't either. So this 3 trillion is pretty much all boomer pensions that will not transfer any wealth to the next generation. So that's half our wealth gone. So then you have 2.75 in real estate, and I wouldn't doubt that 1.75 of that 2.75 is boomer hands, and they didn't go to college or anything. They just were born at the right time. So when they pass on, you can see a world where nearly $5 trillion, if not 4.5 of all of this little 5.5 that Black people have is gone. And like all of Black America has literally no wealth. We don't exist in terms of private business. We have 380 billion, 0.38 trillion. White America has 14 trillion. So this idea, like the man tried to push earlier, of entering business, and I just don't think that people know anything about race and wealth. They don't understand. So you look at, again, this is their private business. Ours doesn't even register in a line. They put Hispanics next to us, but it's very odd because, again, that's a group that came here rather recently, includes a lot of different kinds of people, and they have a whole nother population in their home countries. If we use Mexico, I travel there. Like, there's another set of very wealthy Mexicans, and there's no another set of very wealthy ADOS people. So you can look at this, you can see it right here. Real estate, they have 33 trillion, we have 2.75, and that's our largest category. But again, I think most of that's in the hands of Black boomers that might not even have a high school diploma. In some cases, they do. Consumer durables, a lot of people try to push to you guys that we spend a lot. No, they spend way more than us. So they have 6 trillion in TVs and clothes and cars, and we have 580 billion. So that's not even accurate. We spend because we are American, but we don't spend in any kind of light in comparison to white folks. You know, when people push that 1.5 trillion dollars in spending power, whatever, they're counting weird things. White people use 9 every year. When you go to Best Buy and you look around Best Buy, everything in there they buy, not just the specific TV on the sale in the ad. So when you see this, these are real numbers. It's $350,000 on average. And also, it isn't just 350. And that's why Obama is such an interesting dichotomy, because he received the transfer of a white person. He's Kenyan, and then he got to present as African American. And we'll get into that in a second, because he received $500,000 in transfer or inheritance from his white grandmother while in office. And if he received that, he received gifts probably along the way. Then we know what no $1 million transfer for Tonetalks. And for many of you, it might be zero, if not negative wealth. I need you to see it today. Why so many minority millennials can't get ahead. I hate when they use minority, but this is the article. I like to get into the nitty gritty of Black, and particularly I like to see ADOS. But let's read this article. Without the financial support that many white families can provide, minority young people have to continually make sacrifices that set them back. I got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello? Yeah, my name is Mike.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, I would like to everything you're saying I agree about basically. Like when I went to I only went to college for a semester, but like I kind of grew up in the suburbs, right? And like all my white friends,
Like they can tell me like everything you're saying is correct. Like their grandma trained them for college, their mom and dad give them money while they're in college. Their dad's friend got a job for them, and I'm thinking like as I'm going to college, I'm like, how the hell am I going to compete with this? They got all this going for them. You know what I'm saying? How can I compete with this? And then you go to school, you got to take a debt. And then when you, like you said, when you graduate, you don't know nobody really to get, because you know, like you said, white people own all the businesses. You don't know nobody what you call it, can get you a job. You got to be like the best candidate. You got to have graduated valedictorian, got all A's. You know, I wasn't that type of student. I got B's and B's and A's, but I wasn't really that type of student. But like, you got to be like the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can't do that, but you're telling the truth. Everything you're saying is true. And the thing with Claudine, she right. So Exeter is it's like essentially going to college and high school. You got to pay to go to that school. So basically, her family had money. Basically, her family, and what people don't realize, because I'm a first generation. I come from Caribbean parents, right? So for everything, I agree with everything. Not everything, but I agree with majority of everything you say. You can't be 100% agree with everything you say, but I agree with majority of what you say. And everything you say is true. You know what I'm saying? Even through my life experiences, you can say it's anecdotal, but even through my life experiences, I can say, yeah, I see that in my life also. So, but she was one of those Haitians that essentially came from money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I can read it right. Caller, I can read it right here. Claudine Gay and Sonny Gay Sr. both attended CUNY after immigrating to the U.S. from Haiti, becoming a registered nurse and civil engineer. So she came from a registered nurse and a civil engineer, and that we're talking about in probably the early 80s, if not late 70s. We can't even begin to deal with how Reagan shut out and prior administrations black ADOS women from being nurses, and then brought nurses in. It's just so many problematic things here that ADOS people have not done any work to deal with. And hey, man, whether you do the work or not, it's time to actually deal with the consequence. And I guess I totally agree with it, because I'm after her, and my parents weren't registered engineers or registered nurses, and I don't understand how you could then hold her out when we left holding the bag in the Moore family. Go ahead.
But I'm saying like the immigrants that come through the pipeline are tending usually already have money. Like even my parents, they already basically have money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
yep.
even from a country like Haiti, like basically like my family were like what you would consider middle class Haitians. So they have money and everything to really get over here and regroup their lives over here. Even though when they work the jobs here, they basically was like
what you're saying is that we didn't do any politics. We just didn't pay the price politically. Period. Post civil rights. And so you look at Chinese and as an example of what the data that they show is that the Chinese that immigrate are from the top 2% of the population, and 50% of them have degrees. That's around what the data represents. And you see the same for most of the immigrant groups, especially when they have to get on a plane to get here, is that they have they're basically then brought here and then folded into and through the narrative of being ADOS, or the narrative of slavery and Jim Crow. And I don't know what ADOS people are really doing at this point. I just know that the first black president, first black vice president, first Harvard president, first press secretary, none of these people are ADOS, and it don't make no sense. But go ahead, I'm gonna let you go, caller. I got a full queue. Thank you so much. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Tom? This is Cynthia from Montgomery County, Ohio. Unfortunately, I was just able to tune in to you. I didn't get the whatever, the subscribe or whatever notification. But I do do want to say this. Now, I've talked to a couple of older white women, and they have been truthful about how they help their families out. Like for one, she has several kids, and she was able to take money, her and her husband, out of her 401k to purchase a house for the kids to live in. And that's just the in vivo transfer. She's been able to take out money to help her daughters open up a restaurant. And I don't know if any ADOS people that can do. I'm not saying that they can't, but the people I know that can do those things like nothing tend to be the white folks. And I also know a black chick who had a Caribbean mother. She married a white guy, and the white guy's family set up a fund for all the grandchildren to have $20,000 to put forth food once they reach.
Because these
I've not met any ADOS. I'm not saying they're not out there, but I've not met any ADOS that will sit down with me and tell me how they're able to do certain things. A lot of times they evade the issue. And what I'm trying to do is a black
caller. It's highly regionalized, so you're going to find those ADOS in California and San Francisco because they were able to take advantage of a property tax loophole that I talked about here and not lose their house to gentrification. So it's highly regionalized. You'll find them in like Prince George and California, and that's it. That could do that. But then, meaning because they can pull money out of a house because they saw appreciation in a way that black folks in, say, Tennessee or Detroit did not see first. And then second of all, I was going to say, it's because we don't tell people what the price tag is. We just been running around here like everything's free, and now we got the debt load, and like you have a boomer in your life, and they don't understand that they have failed you politically, economically. They have failed you because like your part was to go to school. It wasn't to pay for the shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm the first person to ever tell a lot of people in the chat that point. You know how like you think of your kids and you say my kids won't have student loans. Somebody was not doing that for you. I'm not talking about whether they could. I'm just talking about whether it was their goal. And so like here we are, and like you're in the consequence. And I don't know if there is even a dialogue about thinking about yourself. So my thing with ADOS, the thing that Yvette deals with ADOS is I don't even know if there's enough self-interest to survive here. Because I don't even know if people know how to be interested in themselves. Let's talk about it. Any last thing you want to say?
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to say. That's a dysfunction. That's a high dysfunction. And all I was just making a point is a lot of people that I've come across in my area, my network, only a few have been honest about where their resources are coming from. That's all. I'm just laying my plane, and thank you for allowing me to talk.
Oh, the queue is filling up and on this Sunday, but thank you for calling. You know, I'm trying to have a discussion here today that takes us deeper, and I'm just telling you, this is the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, Q2 2023, and what it shows is that black folk wealth don't exist, and the little bit that does is all pension. Pension died with them. So half our wealth is boomer pension, and that's going to die with them. Another probably 1.5, 2 trillion, or let me say about 2 trillion of it is boomer homes that haven't been transferred and so it's gonna get the medical bills and all that. That'll lose too. And so all we'll be left with, let's do the numbers. So all we'll be left with is this little 0.38, and then this point. We won't even have that because that's in the boomer hands, and they little 401ks back when we had 401ks. So we might have 0.1 of this. We gonna have like a few $100 million, billion with a B. Do you know what that looks like when white folks are at $140 trillion? How that reflects in life, how you don't understand what things cost, how it leaves you complaining about the cost of a mortgage, not understanding you're really talking about the cost of being ADOS. Connect the dots. Why so many minority millennials can't get ahead? Without the financial support that many white families can provide, minority young people have to continually make sacrifices that set them back. So when we look at the $20 an hour floor, those people are making the same complaint and looking for a solution that's a quick fix just for their industry. That ain't the answer. It pushes everybody into that industry, and I don't believe that we all should be fast food workers. We've been here too long. A seminal study published in the Journal of Economic Perspective on Wealth Accumulation estimates, come on, let's get into it, that as much as 20% of wealth can be attributed to formal and informal gifts from family members, especially parents, and it starts early in college. Black and Hispanic millennials are more likely to have to work 1 or 2 jobs to get through, missing out on opportunities to connect with classmates who have time to tinker around in dorm rooms and go on to found multi-billion-dollar companies together. Many of them take on higher levels of student debt than their white peers, often to pay for routine expenses such as textbooks that their parents are less likely to subsidize. Student debt is the biggest millstone around millennials, period, and an even larger and heavier one around the necks of Black millennials, said Thomas Shapiro. Y'all remember, I've had Tom Shapiro on my show. We talked about wealth almost 5 years ago. You can go look up the interview. The director of the Institute on Assets and Social Policy. It really hits those doing the right. They're going through all the hoops, he explained, that unlike in previous decades when college tuition was drastically lowered, the risk of educational costs are now passed down to the individual. That's my point to you. You are carrying the bill for somebody else. Your student debt ain't your debt. It's a familial debt. You then are not complaining about politics that is leaving you out. That's what I'm talking about with the wages. That's what I'm talking about with the first Black everything ain't ADOS. And lastly, you giving money upward to your parent or your grandparent that didn't pay their bill. Where they do that? Ironically, even though Black and Hispanic millennials are less likely to receive financial support from parents, their parents are more likely than white parents to expect their kids to help financially support them later on. According to the Clark poll, upward of 80% of Black parents and 70% of Hispanic parents expect to be supported. And most studies show that a primary reason why people of color are unable to save as adults is because they give financial support to close family. This is important because when emergencies happen, many millennials won't have the reserve money to cover them. So you have $45,000 that you saved over the course of 5 years, and then all of a sudden, because Social Security is on pause, and your grandmama retired for 25 years, she don't have her Social Security. So you're gonna pull out of your 45. You don't have no retirement. You don't have no money. 45,000 ain't no money in that, and you ain't getting no inheritance. So this don't make no sense. But you don't know nobody with $40,000 in an account, so you don't know that it's no money. You in America walking around like a ghost. Recent polls indicate the large portion of millennials receive financial help from parents. At least 40% of the 1,000 millennials polled at the March USA Today Bank of America get help from parents on everyday expenses. We are living backwards. This show is about how, and this is the end of the Black ADOS professional. They already signed it up for us. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Juanita. I'm calling from Atlanta.
Give me your take, Juanita. What's up with you?
Well, I'm just, I was thinking about everything that you said, and one thing came to mind. I was looking at this real estate program, and these white folks were talking about how they were buying a house, putting it in the kid's name, but co-signing it for them while they're in college, in addition to paying their college tuition, because they didn't want to have to just rent a house for them and not get anything off of it. So I'm thinking they got enough money to pay for their house and buy their kids a house, and we don't have enough money to buy a car for our kids.
Yeah, that's the cost of a kid.
And how nobody can see that, and nobody can see how effed up that is.
Yeah, that's the cost. That's the cost of a kid. Like nobody told ADOS boomers the cost of a child. And it's like we all agreed to be silent about it. And then they're gonna do this minimum wage thing only for fast food workers, not all workers. And then you gonna clap at that, but you're not gonna ask about your own politics. It's like we don't understand, and we don't understand what America costs. We don't understand that America don't cost the same thing for everybody too. Like you sitting on student loans talking about you gonna give to the church. Come on. You ain't got no money.
No, it doesn't cost the same thing to everyone, because a person that goes to college now, at a minimum, it's gonna pay like $30,000-$40,000 a year.
Well, Juanita,
I
a person.
but I was really aged myself. When I went to undergrad, it was $2,500.
Juanita, does it matter?
Does
it matter if you're a millennial? Juanita, does it matter if you're a millennial and you? Because we haven't even dealt with how many people are defaulted and have all this extra interest. They paying the same prices if they went to college right now. We got a whole generation of collapsed Black college students that we ain't even talking about. So you asking somebody who look at Stacey Abrams. Remember that she didn't have no money. She was behind. She had all the, and she was paying her loan and she was helping people money. What we are asking people that are financially collapsed because they got a good job and make some money to pay for us to be retired. Come on.
Well, that's just all the way wrong. And part of the problem is over 8 hours period, y'all understood the difference between paycheck and well.
Come on.
They think because they went to college, and I'm being optimistic. They went to college, came out of college, and now they making $80,000-$90,000. They think that's the same as they who making $80,000-$90,000, but it's not. Because they're not paying too long. They probably not paying.
She living at grandmama house. Grandmama then gave her the house.
Probably got the down payment on her house.
Juanita, while you finish, let me ask everybody to answer this in the chat. Let's go a step further, Juanita. Student loans started back today. The payments on federal student loans. How many of y'all in the chat, your grandmama or your mama that's alive, even know that it started back today? Or is your relationship predicated on them never asking anything about what the fuck your life costs? How many in the chat, they mama or they grandmama know that student loan payments started back today? And if they don't know, what y'all doing? Go ahead, caller.
They probably don't know because I get into these conversations all the time, and when I start pointing the facts out to them, they start looking like a deer in headlights because no one wants to talk to the fact that we failed our kids, and now it's our grandkids that's taking it. And it started with us.
And you know what's happening, Juanita? And let me tell you what's happening. The failed children of Gen X and millennials are trying to recreate a perfection for their Gen Z children they don't have the wealth to live up to. Come on. You done told your kids they're not gonna have no student loans, and you got student loans. You remember the girl that went to took her kid all the way up to Spelman or one of them, and she found out at Spelman that she couldn't co-sign because she got debt student loans in default. Come on.
Exactly. The defaulted student loans go back and come there in 2 generations. Yeah, and no one. It's like I don't know. AR has to wake up not only to this, but I mean it starts even further back to the schools, to the way our kids are educated, to the way our boys are incarcerated. Because they're not educated, it goes all the way back to there. And the few people that got that taste, they really ain't got a damn thing. It's too busy looking down their nose at people in the so-called hood, and they don't realize they ass in the hood too.
Come on.
They just skip a couple of years.
Hey, Juanita, I got a full queue. I'm gonna give it.
Use by language.
No, you good.
If they get 2 or 3 paychecks, they are fucked.
Juanita, I'm gonna let you go. I got a full queue. I'm gonna let everybody get a chance. I'm gonna try to give everybody a chance in the queue. I got a few callers, and Yvette put up a tweet today, and I came up under it, and it went to the whole other sandwich bread. So on one side of the pressure is the low wage worker being inflated while doing nothing for the highly educated worker, because the presumption is that a highly educated worker will receive somewhere in the like of $500,000 to $1 million from their parents, just like Obama did, in terms of transfers and gifts and wealth. But on the other side is this new model that is over the last 15 to 20 years, the whole game, which is like, so a Haitian American is an African American, but they also a Black American. But we not Haitian American But we don't have a category for all of our lineage to go into other than Black American or African American. But then they that too. So then did they come from our lineage, or is our lineage just doesn't exist? Let me do the logic again. We're definitely not Haitian American, and we respect their lineage. We're definitely not Jamaican American, but people will call them Black American or Jamaican American for those people that have had intimate interactions with people that are Belizean or Jamaican. They use the term Black American to refer to ADOS people and ADOS people alone, because they know where they come from, a country in a country. But when it comes to classification to Lord of progress, they'll say Black American to connect it to a progress since American slavery and for the people that came out of American slavery. So we're not Jamaican American, we're not Haitian American, and we are Black American, and we use the term African American, but then they can be African American too sometimes. Make that make sense if African American is where all of our lineage goes, because they shouldn't be in that pot. To my point, there's no reason Black immigrants should push back against no longer being identified as African Americans. So the woman was celebrating this here, this woman who had professional degree parents from Haiti, that somewhere in the 80s or the late 70s becoming the Harvard president. And what she said is, I still can't get over how a Haitian American woman is assuming her seat as the president of Harvard today. And what Yvette said is, to my point, there's no reason Black immigrants should push back against no longer being identified as African Americans. And I agree. They identify based on their home countries. I think Black immigrants should be named specific to their country of origin, not the continent of Africa. I agree. Somalian American, Ghanaian, that's what they already do, until it's time to divvy up resources that are hinged and attached to our lineage. I responded under Yvette's tweet, and I said the reason this is vital is disaggregation of data. We need separate data to see where groups are failing and succeeding. And I believe what you'll see is an outpaced, and outpaced is an understatement, success amongst certain subgroups, Jamaicans, Haitians, and then extreme failure amongst ADOS. What America is now doing is taking people with nominal numbers, as I told you about Kenyans or Somalians. You look at their numbers, they, small numbers of people in the country that recently arrived. ADOS people have around 45 million people and are failing and making up the jails. What America is now doing is taking people with nominal numbers and limited familial history in America and using first Black to signal the progress in correcting American slavery. Claudine Gay becomes first Black president of Harvard University. First Black to signal the progress in correcting for American slavery and Jim Crow, when their ascension, no different than an Indian American or Chinese American, means neither, and should have the fanfare of coming from privilege and achieving privilege. So she came from privilege with an engineer father. I believe she said engineer, right? Yep, civil engineer. In a time when Black people were locked out, and then, well, we gonna celebrate her like she me. My mama had me at 16, just about 17, 16, 4 days. And should have the fanfare of coming from privilege and achieving privilege. It then leaves ADOS, like me, with the cost, and in effect serves as a false progress or false reparative progress. I am not challenging her ascension to president on its merits. She can be president. But in my view, it does not signal what is being projected by saying first African American. And I tied that back to Yvette, or first Black American. I need us to understand, because we being shut out. And we think that we on the inside. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Tom. This is Dawn from Atlanta. Can you hear me?
Dawn, I'm going to try to take 3 callers back to back. Give me whatever you got to say in 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. Let's see if I can do that. So there was actually 2 things I wanted to comment on. The first one was about ADOS and about the fact that...
Hello? Hello, Dawn? I think we lost you. I think we lost you, Dawn. Hello? All right, I'm gonna take the next caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, man? How you doing, man? My name is Jay. I'm from Ohio.
I'm gonna give you 2 to 3 minutes. Give me whatever you gotta say.
What's up, man? Hey, man. Hey, I understand your frustration, man, because I mean, I've been looking at what's the solution to help our race get up out of this that we're in, man. And the only thing I can say is, man, us as men, as black men, man, we gotta start going. We gotta start going. We gotta start trying to be rappers, athletes, basketball players, and gangsters and pimps. So we gotta start being scientists and other stuff, man. Cause what's been put on us, man, everything that's backwards, man. That's why we in this situation.
Oh, you hear me?
Hey, wait a second, Dawn. I got the other caller on. I'm gonna come right to you right after, and just stay right there.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
It'll be less than 2 minutes.
I understand the frustration coming, man. Well, you know what? We didn't get in this situation in one day. We were going to be out of it in one day. Well, I'm going to still keep in touch with you, man. I want to hear what you got to say, man. I'm rooting for you, bro. And I'm feeling for you. I feel the same way you feel, bro. I'm out.
Thank you so much for your time, bro. It was fire. Let me get back to Dawn. Go ahead, Dawn. You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Dawn again. I am so sorry. They connected to a Bluetooth. So what did I think about talking about my Jamaican coworker? And
Okay.
I was telling her, I said, every time we talk, you always refer back to being Jamaican. How do I refer back to my lineage? If I'm talking to someone Haitian, they can refer back to their lineage. The only way I can identify is by ADOS. She goes, but Dawn, that's super divisive. Why would you want to do that? And I go, but how do I refer to my lineage? You have to answer that question. You said simply by saying I'm Jamaican. How do I do it? So I just wanted everyone to make sure people actually heard you when you said that. I think that's really important that there is no other way for us to identify ourselves besides saying that we are ADOS. The other thing I wanted to make a comment about is with white people. In general, I think that she was trying to, my Jamaican friend was trying to explain to me where white people don't always say, well, I'm Irish or I'm Scottish or I'm this. And I said, the difference is that they've been able to do what is exposed to white society. So the need and their failure is not the same as black failure.
And also, Dawn, she's misrepresenting it and lying. Because on the other side, they don't. I'm just saying, like when it's time to care about general every white country, they only care about the one they came from. So, what's she talking about? Do you even understand your point? Like, no, she don't. So if you talk to let me give you if you talk to a white person that's here from Germany, if you talk to a white person that's here from France, they might care about Ukraine in the context of Germany, but they don't care about Ukraine because Ukraine got Europeans in it. Come on.
No, you're absolutely right. But by the time we finished talking, I basically was able to explain to her what the difference is and the reason why it's not disrespectful about ADOS, because there has to be a category for us. We have to be able to identify. The other thing I just wanted to co-sign about how expensive it is to be able to raise children. As you know, I've called Dawn from Atlanta. I'm in my 50s. My kids are in college. And my daughter says all the time, she goes, we're not considered poor, but when I look at what my white friends and the other people around to go to a PWI, it's crazy the difference in our lifestyle. It's really a big difference. And I think the caller before was talking about the fact that her friends are in townhouses that their parents have already bought because they want them to have rental income. Just the ability and the resources that are available to a lot of her Asian and white friends is just 100% different than what I'm able to give her. And I'm not doing horrible, but it's not even close to what they're being able to do.
Yeah. So what's going on? So you're like in the top. So you're in. Let's just say you're in the top 5 or 10% of black parenting. Well, what happens to everybody that's in the middle, or let alone top bottom 20? That's it. I don't know if.
Let me tell you, I have no idea how they make it. So when I told you, I would say that I make mid 100, right?
Which is top. Well, an individual, because households, I think is top like 20% of black households, if not 15. So as an individual, you're in the top 5 or 10% of black people.
And I'm not doing that great. I still feel like to that's like some people, in order to afford the lifestyle, and when I say lifestyle, it's not even extravagant. I'm talking about making sure that both kids have cars with insurance. We talked about this one of the last calls. The basic stability of insurance, good insurance, coverage, all those basics. And when you start adding those things up, it eats up money really quick. And being able to make sure your children are comfortable. That means they're not working every minute of the time they're in school. They actually have time to socialize and meet people and build relationships. All of that costs money, right? So I think that I'm just agreeing with you that the cost to raise children and raise them in a way where they can build a relationship and actually use those degrees to do something.
It presumes
you have to have money.
No, not just money, time. See, I think that everybody's a bit confused about one element. People are not spending 2023 in 2023. They're spending 1985. You need to spend money that was made in 85 today. Not money that's made today. It's too weak. So you need to be able to access time. Now, I don't know if you can't access it like me, what you gonna do. You better figure it out though, because America's coming. And so I'm just saying, we are not even up against money. We're up against time. And then how does that tie to being ADOS? The little bit of angle we got towards time, we saying all black people can access it. It don't matter if they came from our lineage. That don't make no goddamn sense. That's like a white person inheriting money and giving it to all white people because we all white. Do they do that, Dawn?
No, they don't. No, they absolutely don't. But I just think that one more story. I'm going to tell you one more story. This guy is hilarious. He asked me out, right? And I was thinking about this show. He stopped me. I was walking my dog, and he basically started talking to me. And just of it is, I have two children. My two children are grown. He has 7 kids. 5 are grown. Of course, immediately he's 57. And instantly, I'm like, dude, you can't afford anything with 7 damn kids. He's my language. But I humored him. This is what was funny. He was like, if we had been together, you would have got more than 2 kids. So I said, well, let me explain what my children did. And I could barely afford that. So I walked them through the tennis, the swim, the music lessons every week, private lessons. I said, I can imagine multiplying that by 2.5 to have 5 children. How would you have been able to afford that with me? Do you know he was like, well, they would have been okay.
Yeah.
It never crossed his mind.
They don't do no music lessons.
Children.
Yeah, they don't do no music lessons. I ain't do no damn music lessons, Dawn. Dawn, look, let me get to this last caller so everybody can get a chance.
Okay.
You were great today, though.
Bye.
Thank you. Last caller tonight. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing? This is Antonio calling from Milwaukee.
Antonio, end this out. End this out.
What I want to say is that, a perfect example about black people not doing the politics is that America did not do anything to carry, but they still was given billions of dollars. And also, when you said that it's the different cost being in America, Milwaukee, out of 72 counties in Wisconsin, where they raise all the sales taxes, Milwaukee County paid the highest sales tax. The same way Chicago paid the highest sales tax.
Hey, flip it on his flip it on his head. When that college kid did the survey of when he looked at the racial dot map that shows where people live, out of all the major black areas, all but one was damn near a jail or Section 8 housing in Milwaukee. All but one. Go ahead.
Correct. Well, I did a video saying they did not just de-industrialize Milwaukee. They tore down the factory. They didn't just close and they tore them down, but they wasn't going to be focused in the factory.
Come on.
And then what they do in Milwaukee is they criminalize your children for the minor infractions. They give them 50, which suspend their driver's license, which don't affect them after they try to get their driver's license, which you don't do in high school no more. So you do when you turn 18 and all the jobs outside your community. So it's all like you said, it's a whole different cost to being out. And like you said, is we haven't done the politics and we suffer the consequences of not doing the politics. And we have to understand the wealth compounds on time. So like you said, we compete with time. Time that wealth has been expected from you repeatedly.
Come on.
It ain't just slavery. It's all responsible for their condition.
I understand, Colin.
So that's all right. That's all, my brother. I just want to say appreciate you, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Hey man, for all the people, if you look, there's a variation between people's phones. Just try to listen. You know, some people are calling from different areas. I just wanted to come to you today, have a discussion, bring this talk, because I think that a lot of people don't understand. You got to lift all boats or don't lift none. You got to understand when they actually trying to lock you out, when they make it look like they're doing progressive politics. And also, I think you got to understand when you in the middle and getting squeezed by a wage increase for the minimum wage and getting squeezed by all the elite access jobs that are supposed to be going to ADOS for all of the costs that ADOS bore that are not going to ADOS, and how that squeezes you, and how in the end this may be the end for the Black ADOS professional. Thank you. Tonetalks.net to subscribe, donate, and share. We out.